Is it a struggle? Yes, we have to realize our strengths and our weaknesses. Welcome. This is Why Not? And I'm your host, Janice. Our goal here is to help others to reach their goals by interviewing motivational speakers on interesting topics to help you, our viewers, to get to where you need to go. Well, today is a special treat. We're actually in Erie, Pennsylvania. We're being hosted by CAM ERIE. They are a public television station that's local for Erie, Pennsylvania. And they hosted us to come out to talk to some of the people in Erie about what they're doing. The guest today is, we're actually going to be talking about branding yourself for being on television and making a presentation for who you are and being a host. So we get to talk to Sonya Byes. Sonya Byes has created a show called Chatting with Sonya and Friends right here locally in Erie, Pennsylvania. And we go through her going and developing her show, where she originally started that she was doing it on her own on YouTube with a friend of hers helping her to eventually be able to market it to Erie Station, which she now appears on Erie Now, which is NBC WICU in Erie, to market her show that's geared towards helping others by bringing on people on the show, people in the community, doctors, different organizations, nonprofit, to talk about their issues, their way of giving back to the community, and helpful tips for individuals, either for entrepreneurs or being women. Her show consists of her friends, which are several women in the community that also appear on the show to give their opinions, advice, and help back. So we've already started part of the interview in the studio. So we're going to go and right now we're going to chime in to the conversation that's already in progress. So enjoy and sit back for a wonderful conversation with Sonya Byes, Chatting with Friends with Sonya. Bye-bye.
Be willing to partner with me with this. And he was getting started too as a videographer. So he was like, yes, of course. And we would do this together. And so we started off with one camera. It was just the two of us. And we would reach out to people and be like, hey, like, did you want to just sit with us and tell us this story or talk about what it is that you do? And that's where we started. And I come to find that people are very interesting. And people just want to be seen and heard and, again, listened to. And so that's where we started. And I just started listening.
So finding guests is not that hard, I guess.
No, it really wasn't. And we started off on YouTube. And we started off at our community access media. And we just grew from there. And I want to say we pitched our local TV station. Not so much pitch them, but we brought the idea to them and they was all for it.
Now, on your show, right now it's changed. It's not just you.
It is not just me.
So who are your co-hosts on your show?
I have 4 co-hosts. Alicia Aldridge, Vanessa Boleyn, Jada Best, Tamplin Best, and myself. And so we invite people into this space and we have conversations and we talk about things that, well, postpartum and women of color. That was one of the topics that women of color, we never talked about those things openly. And after I had my son, I was really sad for no reason. And I thought like, oh my gosh, I had this baby and I'm just not happy at this time. And I would cry in the shower and I just didn't know if it was normal, but I didn't talk about it. And so when we created this show and we as a group started talking about it, I've come to find that, these women had postpartum too, and they too didn't say anything. And so we open these conversations and now we give other women the opportunity to share too, you know?
Okay. So what topics do you talk about? Just not postpartum, but other things also?
We talk about things like voting, the importance of women voting and how women of color drive the polls. We really do. So we talk about those things. We talked about life insurance for the Black and brown communities. You can't just always post a GoFundMe.
After something happens,
you know, everyone's going to pass away one day. And so we brought awareness to that. We also talked to Brandon Wiley, mental health in the community of color. That wasn't an issue or talked about. It's an issue, but it was never just talked about. So we talk about those things as well. We try, and the Crime Victim Center here in Erie, we brought them on. You know, oftentimes people don't even realize they're victims of crimes, certain crimes. So we had them come on and talk about, you know, how does a victim look like? Some people don't like to be referred to as victims, but oftentimes people are victimized and don't even realize it. So we had them come on, and we talked to organizations about everything.
Now, what is your background to actually do this? Did you want to always be on television?
No, I didn't have a background in television. I have a corporate background, and it was from corporate that led me to know that we need to utilize our voices and the microaggressions that comes along with corporate oftentimes. And so again, I wanted to create a safe space where we could come together and have these conversations. So it wasn't like my background was in communications. It was anybody can have a conversation and share what it is that they're feeling or their thoughts, or share resources and ideas even, and give encouragement and support. And so that's basically where that came from, more like a passion.
Now, is there any part or aspect of your corporate background that you blend into the show, or you have topics on?
We do. We did talk about the Crown Act. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but workplace hair discrimination.
Oh, okay.
And so for women of color in corporate, that could be an issue too. The microaggressions with the hair, if you decided to change your hair, it was a topic all day from your colleagues, your Caucasian colleagues, and it could just be something different from them, but you would hear things like, oh, did your hair grow that long overnight? Can I touch your hair? Is it real? Is that a wig? And so those are things that clearly you don't know if these are malicious intent, but at the same time, you know, we found ourselves constantly educating some people, and some people would be actually kind of rude about it. And so we did a conversation about that too. You know, what's etiquette in the workplace, in the office, you know, for women of color in their hair. And as far as discriminating against, you know, we change our hair, we're still the same people. So that should not be the subject of the conversation.
And women and everyone should feel comfortable in their hair, their clothes. My son's biracial, and he used to wear the short haircut, and now he's changed into braids or locks or just pulling up in a big puff now. And it's like that dynamic around the office for him. It's like they're looking at him like, okay, what's changed? Why did you change so drastically? Well, this is what he feels is comfortable with. So let him be him, but yes, that's definitely.
I feel like women of color, you know, we express ourselves through our hair, and it should be okay as well as accepted in the corporate office. And sometimes it's not.
No, it's not.
No, it's
that's
not.
Definitely something, a topic that even for minorities and also non-minorities to watch the program and understand, so we can relate and understand the diversity that goes on. So we are more acceptance and understanding. You know. Now your other 4 hosts that you have, what type of backgrounds do they have?
These women are corporate. The one is an HR specialist. She works in corporate, human resource specialist. And our one, Jada, she's an educator. She's an assistant principal, so she's all education. And the other young lady is a property manager, so she manages properties here in Erie. So everyone is from different backgrounds. We're all different ages. We're mommies and sisters and daughters, and so we come together and collectively we bring our own background and experiences.
Now, when you decided to go from just you being the host to having more of a roundtable kind of atmosphere, how did you select these people? Are they close friends or relatives or?
I was really intentional about picking a variety of mix. People who had different backgrounds and who, you know, were not like me. The one young lady I did work with in corporate, but our lives are totally different. She too is in a biracial marriage of 20 plus years, beautiful family of 5 or is it 7 of them? And so it's just me and my son. So I'm a single mom. I have one son. So our family dynamics are very different backgrounds. And, you know, I've had conversations with her like, you know, what is it like, you know, being in a biracial relationship? Was it really hard? People were rude. And she shared her experience as far as that goes too. The one young lady, Vanessa, she's Latina and she's a few years younger. And so she has children. She single mom, but now she's in a committed relationship, but different backgrounds, like she's Latina. And so her experiences are different. And then there's Jada, who is an educator. She's a mommy to younger kids now. So our children are pretty much adults. She has a 10-year-old. And so she had children later in life. And
big dynamic.
Everyone is different. And the conversations are great because, like I said, we do a lot of sharing from our backgrounds. Our families are different. And so I wanted to give the audience different when I incorporated the women.
Even coping with Christmas holidays. You have one child to buy for, and she has 5 or maybe 7.
You know, holiday traditions are different. She does a live tree every year. It's a big thing at her house. And she has grandchildren as well. And she's not, you know, she had her children young. So then she's still young. And she has like 4 grandchildren, 4 or 5, I do believe. So
she adds that to the conversation too.
She does. So each one adds so much to the conversations.
So with the dynamic, and you're now on Erie Channel 12, how does that work with the producers and actually going about that? How are they helping you on the show, and how is that working out?
So with the producers, basically, we're very fortunate to be there, and I do understand that. Very, very fortunate. So we're a part of their family, to be quite honest. You know, we're in their studios. We have full access to their producers, and the show is there. And so, like I said, we're very fortunate to have that. We reach a larger audience if outside of YouTube. And so, yeah, they're really good to and for us. And I write up, you know, our scripts and things like that and our topics and stuff. So basically, we're already pretty much established, and we go there and we shoot from the studios.
Now, do you do a lot of things that are scripted, or like the base is scripted and the conversation would be different?
The base is a little bit scripted, but the conversations are unscripted. And we have free reign to talk about whatever it is that we want. And so the mission of Chatting with Sonya and Friends was to empower people and motivate them and encourage them and provide resources for them on many different levels.
Okay. How are the viewers receptive to your channel or to your show?
They love us. Well, so far that I've seen and here, I've not heard.
I mean, I saw your commercials and they look great and spectacular. And I saw some shows. They're like really engaging.
And thank you very much. So we do have supporters, I like to call them, as opposed to fans. And like I said, we're still new in this space a little bit, but we are recognized. When I go out, I do run into people and they, I love this show and I love watching. And we do open it up, you know, if people have any show ideas or things that they'd like to discuss, we do open that too. So some people ask, can you talk about this? Can you talk about the importance of life insurance? And some things that they would want to hear but not so much that they would want to be on their socials talking about that. And so, yeah, we take it all in consideration, and we are community minded. We do a lot of things as far as our community is concerned. So,
you have a lot of out in the community helping out.
We do. We're on boards, if you will.
Okay.
Like the Second Harvest Food Bank, I just joined the board. I'm really happy about that. To go and serve and see what it's like, you know, people who have food insecurities and things like that. So yeah, I'm actually on CAM's board. I love being here. I love what this place does for our community. And so yeah, we're definitely community minded and engaging.
How often does your show air? Do you do a new show every week? Or how often do you air?
We air every Sunday morning at 6:30 in the morning. That's a little bit early, but we do find that there's a lot of people who are up early.
Getting up for church.
Yes. So yeah, those
yes.
are people who are up. And then there's early birds, like I'm an early bird, so I'm up. And then it repeats, like it also comes on Tuesdays at 10:30 at night for those people who are not up early. And then it comes on again Saturday mornings at 11:30. Okay. And that's the same episode. So same episode, 3 opportunities to watch 3 times a week.
Okay, but you do a new one every week?
Every week, a new episode, unless there's a rerun, is on Sundays.
Okay. Now, do you do that in front of a live audience, or do you do it just closed studio?
No, we do it closed studio, but on occasion, like this evening actually, we're going to be doing a live studio audience for our favorite things. And so we're going to invite the audience in.
Oh, okay.
So we've not done a lot of live studio audience. This will be our second.
Okay. Are you looking at expanding the show, or just right now focusing on developing the show and getting a firmer grip in Erie?
I would love to expand the show. Right now, we're just working here locally. Okay. But this coming year, I am looking to mix it up a little bit. And again, invite, you know, some other people to the show possibly to kind of, like I said, do a different thing. And I would also love to reach outside the walls of Erie, the surrounding areas, because we're near Buffalo and Cleveland and even Chicago, is it? Like not too far away. So yeah, we would love to get viewers from different places.
Now, how do you get your topics, or do you choose weekly, or do you have like a plan that, okay, this month maybe we're just talking about domestic violence or issues of marriage?
We select them haphazardly, some of them. We do topicals, like, you know, what's going on in the world today. We need to talk about that. And then we do kind of coincide with a month, like domestic violence month is in September. And we do heart health in February, and things that just come natural, like May's Mother's Day, June Father's Day, June is Pride month. And so we do kind of align some things that naturally fall within the months, but some things we just want to talk about. And that's where those arrive. When we have like a session, like a brainstorming session, if you will. And it's like, hey, girls, like, what do you want to talk about? Health and fitness this time, or banking information and things like that.
Okay.
So
now, you as the host and the producer, do you do a lot of behind the scenes? Do you do a lot of editing? Do you have to go out for commercials?
We do have to go out for commercials. So each segment, like we film in segments. So each segment is timed. Like the first segment will be like 9 minutes, commercials, and then come back. But no, I don't do any of the editing per se. Okay. So unfortunately, I don't. I'm just not good at that. But I, when I say executive produce, like I pick the topics, I reach out to the guests and get everybody aligned up for the subjects and topics and things like that. So fortunately, I don't have to slice and dice and do all those things.
Now, do you have any advice for women who want to get into production and television, or even podcasts and YouTube? Do you have any advice for our brown and black women for getting into the business?
Well, the advice I would give is everybody has a story to tell. And behind every face and every person, there is a story. And every story is interesting. Everybody, because everybody is different. And so what I would tell people is, if you want to divulge into this business, like, there's so much out there. I mean, you can just get together and do this. And nowadays you can use your iPhone even to upload to YouTube or whatever. But just start somewhere. Like, use your iPhone and have these conversations, set up a little background or what have you. And eventually, if you want to grow it into something, you can develop it after that. But if it's something you want to do, you just start somewhere.
Just start. Now, was it difficult for you when you went to Channel 12? Like, when you went to the actual station, like, here's my program. You know, were you nervous? I mean, how was your faith with that? I don't...
Actually, I was introduced to the manager there. I was introduced there, and the person who introduced me, he's like, Sonya, like, all I can do is introduce you. You have to go and sell it. But I do believe, like, when I was a little bit nervous, but I do believe the conversation I had, she caught the vision of what this could look like and what it could mean to our community and our younger women and our women of color too. I feel like sometimes as women of color, we're often misunderstood. We have to find that line between being assertive as opposed to being viewed aggressive. And so those are things that we can't afford to take lightly. And so you just have to learn what that balance is. So I was cautious of that, but at the same time, I knew that this was something good and it would be good for us, women of color, our communities, and for anybody who's watching, for the opportunity to learn and listen.
Now, are you groundbreaking as being a woman of color in the television industry for Erie? For having a talk show like that you have?
At this particular time, we are the only ones who have a local talk show. I did hear several years ago that other women, many years ago, probably, I don't know, I don't want to say before I was born, but I was a really young girl. I did hear that a group of women got together to do something like that, but they weren't as successful in getting it off the ground. So we're probably the first ones that people are actually seeing in this space and doing this work.
What makes you different, or what's helping you be more successful and getting you where you want to go?
I don't know what's making me different, but I was determined.
That's
different. I persevered. And I knew, I started off really small. No one's watching or paying attention, but I just didn't give up and I put in the work. I feel like oftentimes people don't know what hard work is or what it looks like, but I'm a person of faith like yourself. I pray a lot. And I just know what God has for you, it's for you. And so I'm one of those people that you can pretty much do whatever it is that you can believe that you can.
How many hours? Because you're in the corporate world still, correct?
No, actually I am not.
You're not?
I work chatting with Sonya and Friends full time.
Oh, okay.
And so I work all the time. You think when you're in corporate you work. When you're working on something for yourself, I just felt like, I was going to give myself the same time and effort that I did for corporate. And I wasn't going to slack on myself. And I often tell people, don't cheat on yourself. Don't do it. Give yourself that same energy and that passion that you would give working for someone else. So this is what I do full time.
Oh, full time. Now, are you an employee of your show or the station, or how does that go about?
I am an employee of my show.
Okay.
It's kind of under the umbrella. I'm an entrepreneur as well.
Okay.
Mocha Media Management. So Mocha Media manages Chatting with Sonya and Friends.
Oh, okay.
So.
So even like when you say you have to go out for commercials, you are also like even the marketing director to go out and get commercials and things like that.
I do have to. Now, I'm not a salesperson. That part is difficult. I'm not a salesperson, but and especially now in the
your show sells it. So I mean, do you need to be a salesperson?
I don't know. I feel like people are using social media as opposed to a lot of mainstream marketing these days because social media is free.
Right.
And so not a lot of people are interested in commercials and things like that. But a good person who knows good marketing, you would want to target every area. And so not everybody's on social media. And so people do watch TV.
Right.
And so if you're trying to market a good or product, then you should want to tap into all areas of marketing, in my opinion. So for those of you out there who are not utilizing commercials, you probably should.
Now, besides doing the television show, and you still put on YouTube, do you also use other aspects of social media? Because a lot of people just use social media and they can't get, not everyone can get in a television. But is that very important? Like, do you tweet and things like that, or use Twitter?
Actually, I do not tweet. I do have a Twitter, but we utilize social media heavily. We have an Instagram and a Facebook, and obviously we're on TV. So those are the three vehicles that's driving this show. We should be tweeting. I just feel like I don't have that much to say. I'm all tapped out. I don't have anything to say for Twitter. So yeah, I use those, we utilize those. Instagram and Facebook and viewership.
Okay. How do you suggest someone try to build up their followership? Like if they're on YouTube, what do you do to try to build up a following?
So what we did is I actually had to hire a content creator. And because I'm working on everything behind the scenes, and I didn't have time to be on there like uploading and keeping as engaged as I would like. So if you have funding to be able to do that, I would highly suggest a content creator. And then that way you can be uploading and working and doing everything while you're working. Now they can be a little bit pricey, but you can pick a package that works for you, but at the same time, they're making sure you're present on social media.
Now, besides the television and YouTube, are you also doing anything such as writing a book or being out there as a guest speaker, or have your own foundation projects that you work on? I know you said that you're on some boards now.
Actually, I am not writing a book, but I am very community engagement minded. So I support the community. I go to different events. I do some video work for our local food hall. So I have been the MC for certain things like that. So it just all kinds of runs together. People reach out and be like, hey, Sonya, like, do you want to come over here and be a guest speaker here? Or would you show up to this event and that event? So I do things like that.
Oh, okay. What type of roles do the other hosts that you have do? Do they take more of a hands-on role like you're doing?
Actually, some of them are a part of boards. Like some of them are on boards, and they are also community-minded as well.
Okay. Well, we're almost out of time. If you can give one piece of advice for having your own show and inspiring someone.
One piece of advice is if you want to have these conversations and engage with people, just go for it. Conversations are easy, they're free, and you can do it. So yeah, you don't need a big production in the beginning. Just start somewhere.
Well, I want to appreciate you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
This is Sonya Byes. She's with Chatting with Sonya in Erie PA, and why not? I'm your host, Janice. Thank you very much. Watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and on cable. Have a nice evening. Good night.